Okay, now where were we? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did intermission, so it's time to play Guess the Victim!
Yeah!
Yeah, why is he being a downer?
It's okay.
Uh-huh. Could be, but we're not. You are the real victim. More true than Monotaro, anyway.
Absolutely right! Hey,
There are no victims. Not in Monokuma world. Uh-huh.
Daddy! All right!
You say that. I don't think too many people would mourn you.
This is my impression of a spooky, scary ghost.
Stop that.
I'm fine with real ghosts, but impressions of them are too scary.
Uh-huh.
Logic does not compute.
Did you hear something?
I kind of agree with
No,
one of them there.
I didn't hear anything. You know what else is scary? Sweet buns. Yep, tasty, tasty sweet buns.
How?
So round, so sweet, so delicious.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't sound scary at
How,
all.
how is that scary?
I'm scared too. Scared of losing my friends.
Did you hear something?
I think you already lost them, one of them.
No, I didn't hear anything.
Answer us, Himiko. You chose the middle room to lure us into your trap, did you not? Then you used that trap to kill Tenko, yes?
Well, Donkey Lips, did you kill that twat?
Again, they paid her to say these lines.
Wait, must be some mistake. No way Himiko is culprit.
Then she needs to defend herself. Otherwise, this debate is deadlocked.
Did somebody say
I don't care if you
deadlocked?
gotta use magic
Oh,
to do
not
it,
time
but
for that
say
yet.
something already.
Are you even listening?
No, I'm not listening. I don't care anymore. I'm too tired. Angie died. Tenko died. Why did I have to survive? And now, you're all saying I killed them? I just don't care anymore.
Himiko.
Do whatever. If you want to vote for me, then just go ahead.
The game gets really blah if the suspect isn't into it.
That's not the problem.
Damn it. Don't tell me you've given up.
Himiko, don't give up.
Don't you understand? My life is riding on the outcome of this trial!
Yeah, Himiko is having a moment here.
Shut up. I told you, I'm too tired. It's all just a big pain. I can't put up with it anymore.
She's... I wouldn't say it's as bad, but she is having an Ishimaru moment here. Her little path here is very reminiscent of what Ishimaru went through here. Except she's still got to go through the trial and be accused of them as being and accused of being the killers of both of them.
What are you talking about? If you give up here...
You needn't worry. Himiko was the one who chose that room. Therefore, she is unmistakably the culprit.
Impossible! Himiko would never kill Tenko! Himiko not that kind of person. Gonta can tell by Himiko's face.
Himiko's a little slow, so I don't think she's capable of handling a complicated crime.
That's not really very nice,
I also
Maki.
think Himiko's not the culprit. Somehow.
Either way, we gotta look for more possibilities.
That does seem like rather a pointless quest.
No, it's not. We gotta be strong. Gotta keep thinking. Then we might find new truth. So no give up, Himiko!
I can't say that Himiko has
Performing the seance
displayed
in that
any
room
signs of
was
being
Himiko's
incredibly
decision, wasn't it?
intelligent and
What if
thorough
someone
in her
steered her
planning
into
or
picking that
anything.
room?
Of the 3 empty rooms, why did you select the middle one? Because you laid your trap there.
Was trap only in that room? Other rooms may be trapped too.
Yeah, even if Himiko picked the room, someone else could have set that trap.
Your opinions
It's
are
still
empty
kind of
words.
savage. Or we
Performing
kind of
the
know
seance
something
in
about
that
the other
room
rooms.
was Himiko's decision, was it not?
What if someone steered her into picking that room?
Of the 3 empty rooms, why did you select the middle one? Because you laid your trap there.
And
Was
it's funny
trap
that
only in
we
that room?
kind of have to agree with Gonta here, huh?
Other rooms may be trapped.
I agree.
How was that not a V hit? Whatever.
It's just like Gonta said. Each room was the same. They were all trapped.
What? Is that true?
Kokichi will tell you.
Oh yeah, sure. Sleep on us now.
He was way too careless. Wait, what are you talking about?
While you were in the room next to the crime scene, you found a loose floorboard, right?
The hard way.
Well, I didn't find it so much as I stepped through it and tripped.
What? Hold on! There was also a loose floorboard in the next room?
So the culprit prepared a trap in all 3 empty rooms, not just the middle one.
If the culprit set traps in all the rooms, then they wouldn't need to select a room themselves.
So the real trap was for someone else to pick a room and take the blame.
I see. We were caught in the culprit's trap all along.
Especially you!
But now there's no reason to suspect Himiko, right?
Just had to clear my throat there.
Himiko, do you remember what Tenko told you? Live life facing forward. She said that to you, right? If you give up on living, you'd be betraying her memory. We're all trying to keep our promises to the dead. This trial, it's not just for our lives. It's for everyone who's died as well. That's why we can't give up. This is our responsibility. We live on.
And Shuichi busting out the motivational speeches.
Right. Yeah, that's right. If I gave up here, I wouldn't be able to face Angie or Tenko.
That's right. So let's do our best.
Alright, I'm not gonna say it's a pain anymore. I won't give up. I'll fight alongside everyone and survive.
Do not say everyone. After all, the Blackened is still among us.
Robo the Blue.
Hey, there you go. Killing the mood like usual. But damn! Well said, Shuichi. That's what I'd expect from my soul, bro.
Your soul, bro?
Well, anyway, do you think the Blackened this time has some sort of superpower?
What are you talking about?
Well, as a self-proclaimed expert of stepping through floorboards, isn't it weird that no one stepped through that floorboard before the culprit used it?
Ah, that is a good point.
It must have been barrier magic.
God damn it, Himiko.
Well, that's one possibility, but I think it might have been something else.
And why did no one step on that specific floorboard? What would keep them from stepping on it? Gee, I wonder what could have caused that.
This is it! It's because of the magic circle at the scene of the crime.
I curse you.
Before we began the seance, we were warned not to step on the circle. The floorboard in question was within the circle. That's why no one stepped on it.
So the magic circle's purpose was to keep us away from the whole trick.
That was part of the culprit's plans too?
So, Creeper. Care to explain the thing?
It has to be you! Kyo. Was it you?
Whatever are you talking about?
And, for those of you who have not seen the third trial, it's about to get really, really weird. So, brace yourself. Just fair warning.
I'm talking about Tenko's murder.
Kyo?
Why do you suspect me?
Because you were the one who drew the magic circle. The circle kept us from discovering the seesaw trick. But that's not all it was for. In order to make the murder succeed, variables like Tenko's position and the placement of the cage needed to be defined. And those variables were defined by using the magic circle. In short, the circle itself was the most important tool in this murder. Knowing that, the person who drew the magic circle has to be the culprit.
Well, Kyo?
Answer already! Did you do it?
What is so funny?
I was just thinking. So this is how each Blackened must have felt. What an intriguing experience this is.
What? An intriguing experience?
But if I am the culprit as you claim, then I stomped on the floorboard, yes? So, do tell. How could I have stomped on the floorboard during that darkened seance?
I see. That is problem.
Unless that is made clear, you cannot be certain I am the culprit.
How can you be so calm when you're backed into a corner like this?
I will explain that in due time. Please answer my question first.
Yeah, how did he move around in total darkness if he indeed was the one that stomped on the floorboard?
Wait a minute. Maybe...
Did you figure it out?
I mean, the magic circle was 3D. It had a trail he could touch.
That's it! The culprit used touch. They didn't see, they felt.
That way they could get around in the dark, like how I got to the candle.
Wasn't Seesaw in middle of room? Gonta doesn't think it was near wall.
Game, I just
So they
explained this.
probably used something besides the wall to move then, right?
Were there any other markers within reach?
Of course, the answer to that is there was nothing of the sort.
But we have to spell a thing. Come on, where's a G? There it is. Need an R. There it is. Good no. Did not get a good look. There it is.
I see now.
That's it! The magic circle! They used the magic circle! Remember? The magic circle was drawn with salt. The culprit used the salt's texture to feel their way through the dark.
I see. So Kyo traced the magic circle with his hands to get to the loose floorboard.
Oh, I see. You drew the magic circle with salt to use it as a guide.
An interesting thought. It is unfortunate that it is so wrong. Recall the document. What did the magic circle look like?
Gee, I think this was brought up earlier. Didn't you
Based
bring
on the
this up,
document,
Riku?
The magic circle wouldn't reach the corners of the room.
So what?
When the room was darkened, each of us was in a corner of the room, yes? The magic circle didn't reach us, so I could not have followed it, yes?
But you're talking about the magic circle in the document. That doesn't mean the circle you drew was the same.
No, I most definitely drew it exactly the same. I have it perfectly memorized.
Ah, that is a fair
So which
point.
is it? Is there any way to check?
We aren't exactly
Not
examining
anymore.
Angie's case.
The magic circle is a complete mess from being trampled on.
But yeah, we can't exactly see how the magic circle used to look, can we?
Everyone, may I have your attention, please?
Not now, Kibo.
What a pain. We don't have any way to check it now.
Excuse me, everyone. May I have your attention, please?
Kibo, we're stewing over here.
Well, I guess there's no point in discussing the magic circle anymore.
Hey, may I have your attention?
No. Ah, stop that.
Oh, I said cut that out! It's too bright!
I apologize. I just wanted everyone to listen to me.
About what?
I had Mew add another function to my body, in addition to the flashlight.
What the? No way! Did you really? Stop! You can't! I didn't install it for that purpose!
Please, let me use it. With it, I might be able to save everyone.
Alright, so what is this function?
It's an image recording function.
Image recording?
Specifically, this function allows me to dispense a printout of my own memory.
I did mention that this case was going to get a little weird, right? Just checking.
I'll give it a try.
Then again,
Ready?
this isn't the weird part. Well, kind of is, but not really.
From your mouth?
I also used magic like that before.
This printout is my memory of being kicked out of the seance. Please confirm that the floor of the empty room is clearly visible. Go on, take the picture and see for yourself.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, Shuichi, do you notice anything?
Gee, funny how this was exactly brought up. Right there.
There! This helped a lot, Kibo. Without you, I never would have seen through Kyo's lie.
My lie?
You just said that you drew the magic circle exactly as it appears in the document. But that's a lie, isn't it? The magic circle at the scene had lines that stretched to the room's corners. Which means that you would be able to find the floorboard from anywhere in the room.
So it was different from the document after all.
All because Himiko noticed. And because of Kibo, too.
Hey, where's my things? I'm the one who installed that function into Kibo.
Uh-huh. We really don't need to go into any more detail on this. Like at all.
Hey, yeah!
Like
what
none?
was it you were saying about its purpose?
We're gonna find out.
Oh, to be honest, the purpose of that image recording function is to monitor my health. Specifically, I make Kibo use that function every day to analyze my turds. Your what? Why? Shit is a great indicator of intestinal health and gut bacteria quality. Plus, taking a satisfying shit does wonders for a woman's natural beauty, so...
While she is not incorrect here, I really don't think we needed to know that much detail about how she's monitoring her health. I'm just saying.
See? You're all grossed out! This is why I didn't want to tell you about my plan! Quit talking
No one cares. Kyo, you killed Tenko, didn't you? Just give up and admit it already.
So, Kyo, if you have any objections, you can...
Your deductions are fiction. Well, since you've given me the option, I will most certainly object. To be honest, it's unimportant, but it may be an amusing diversion. Now I shall bear witness to your abilities, Shuichi. Do entertain me.
Trial number 2 is
If
kind
you are
of a
going
reason.
to claim I am the culprit, then what of the murder weapon? It was set up in the cage. The only people capable of that are Kokichi and Shuichi, who carried the cage, so suspicion should fall on them.
True, we could have placed the sickle there, but we could not have removed it later. Because we weren't the ones who lifted the cage. That was Himiko.
The only person who could have collected the sickle is Himiko. But the only people who could have placed the sickle are Kokichi and Shu. But in regards to that dilemma, I did not carry the cage, nor I had no opportunity to touch the sickle. So simply put, I am not the killer. The only person who could have collected the sickle is Himiko. But the only people who could have placed the sickle are Kokichi and Shu. But in regards to that dilemma, I did not carry the cage, nor did I lift. I had no opportunity to touch the sickle.
I'll cut through your words!
Her being a stonewall for the first half of the second
The only
trial
person who
is
could have set
a
up the
way
sickle
to
and
get
retrieved
me
it afterward
to
is
get
Kyo.
annoyed with her.
That was done by covering the cage with a white cloth.
She
You could
gets
have
so much
secretly
better
placed
after
the
that
sickle
point,
when you
but,
draped the
you know,
cloth.
early impressions and all.
And retrieved it afterward when you removed the cloth. Then, while everyone was distracted, you discreetly dropped the sickle under the floor.
Wonderful! That's exactly correct.
Say what?
It's correct? Then why don't you give up already?
The trick I put so much work into is just wasted effort now. Alas.
So, it was you? You killed Tenko?
Let me guess. You'll never forgive me. Himiko, you must hate me so very much. Maybe you'd feel better if I was executed by Monokuma. But unfortunately for you, that won't happen. Because if you vote for me, every spotless, including myself, will die.
What you talking about, Kyo?
Stop that.
You still don't understand? I killed Tenko, that is the truth. But it is meaningless in this class trial.
Meaningless?
You mean Monokuma's extra ruled, right?
So yeah, even though he fessed up to killing Tenko, that doesn't mean he's the one we've got to vote
You
for.
see, I killed Tenko, but not Angie. For us, Tenko's death is nothing but a trivial issue. Because the Blackened in this trial is the culprit who killed Angie.
Trivial issue? No, that's gotta be a lie. You probably killed Angie too.
That is simply not possible. Recall that I was unable to enter Angie's lab.
Oh,
Only student council members and Kokichi could enter research lab.
How could I have possibly killed Angie when I couldn't even enter her lab?
We can figure that out. No one else could have done it besides you. If you're the one who killed Tenko, you gotta be the one who killed Angie.
I understand how you feel, Himiko, but maybe we can discuss this rationally.
I haven't had a good time to say it.
There is a non-zero possibility that Kyo is telling the truth.
So you understand how she feels. I see. Wait, robots can understand human feelings?
God damn it, Kokichi. Stop poking the
Of
robot.
course I understand. I worked really hard to understand.
Hey, why are you getting all worked up, Kibo? Chill, dude.
That's enough! It's voting time! I'm gonna vote for him!
Voting for me will only help the one who murdered Angie.
Isn't Kyo culprit?
Of course I'm not. This case was an error on my part. Monokuma added that rule after both bodies were found, yes? How was I to know that the trial would only be for Angie's killer? Had I known, I certainly wouldn't have killed Tenko.
You're lying! You killed Tenko and Angie!
Now hold on. Jumping to conclusions here is dangerous.
We should talk it out more. This case might have juicy plot twists waiting to happen.
That's not the reason,
Nuts
Kokichi.
to that. Any way you look at this case, Kyo is obviously the culprit.
Yeah, there's sort of no other way to look at it.
No, it's too dangerous to vote before we arrive at a logical decision.
The culprit's one of you! Wowee! This argument is getting intense! At times like this. The Ultimate Academy is proud to present its very own more phenomenal trial
Split right down the middle. Time to launch your rocket.
Hey, I've been waiting for this!
Of course you have.
Why were you waiting for it?
And we have this cutscene every time. Slightly varied by, you know, who's dead and all, but, you know. Notice who we're stuck on the side of here.
Kyo killed Tenko and Angie!
Kibo! We don't know for certain that Kyo killed Angie.
He forced his way into Angie's research lab and killed her!
I got this! But he couldn't get into Angie's research lab.
The katana was found in Kyo's lab.
Kyo! Anyone could have entered my lab.
So Kyo did kill Tenko, but he not blackened?
Kokichi! Perhaps there's a second blackened we need to find.
He was planning to use the new rule to protect himself all along.
Kyo! Not possible. That rule was added after both murders.
We solved the mystery of Tenko's death. Can't we just vote now?
I got this! Not yet. There's still another mystery to solve.
This is our answer!
Thought it said supposition.
It would be a mistake to vote before we've completely solved Angie's murder. And there's still the mystery of Tenko's murder.
Mystery? What kind of mystery?
Well, Kyo's confession derailed our conversation a bit. But we still have to go over one of the clues found at Tenko's crime scene. I believe it might even have something to do with Angie's murder.
It does. It does make some sense. So let's see, now that we have done that. Yeah, the one thing we didn't find anything about.
This is
bright
it!
blood.
The blood stain found under the floor. Maki and I found it during the investigation. It was beneath the floorboard that the culprit stomped on.
Is that Tenko's blood?
That bloodstain was too far from Tenko's corpse to have been hers.
Also, the bloodstain was already dry when we found it.
I sure hope that it's not
But the blood from Tenko's body hadn't even begun to dry yet.
Well, that's weird. Why was that bloodstain the only dry one?
Yeah, why was it dry? Well,
that's it!
It had to have happened earlier.
The bloodstain wasn't from Tenko's murder. It was there before we started the seance.
Before the seance?
And yeah, with that in mind, it kinda has to be Angie's.
That's it! That bloodstain wasn't Tenko's. It was Angie's.
Why was blood from Angie at the scene of Tenko's murder?
Yeah, wasn't Angie killed in her research lab?
Just because we found her body there doesn't mean she was killed there.
Ah, I guess that's possible.
If Angie wasn't killed in her lab, then that opens up a lot more possibilities. We assumed that only council members could have killed Angie since her body was in her lab. But if she died somewhere else, then we can't suspect just the council members anymore.
So the culprit didn't enter her lab, but waited for her to come out of it?
I'm not sure if the culprit waited for her, but they probably killed her when she came out. Well, I thought that was more likely from the start. So I went to places Angie might have gone and checked all 3 empty rooms.
Places she might have gone? Why did you check the empty rooms then?
The empty rooms were the only places I could think of that Angie would go.
Did Angie have business in rooms?
It seems Kokichi's up to his usual misleading nonsense again.
I do lie a lot, and I could be lying right now too. But I'm pretty sure someone's panicking right now because of my lie.
So what would she have possibly needed that would convince her to leave her lab? What would be the one thing she couldn't get anywhere but those rooms?
The art research lab is not where Angie was killed. She was killed in the empty room instead!
She left her lab on her own?
But why would she go into an empty room? There shouldn't have been anything in there.
Except for candles.
That's it! She wanted a candle! To keep herself awake at night. She would drip hot wax on her body.
That
No.
sounds like something only you would do, Mew.
No, Mew. However, you are correct as to
The
what
art
she
research
wanted.
lab is not where Angie was killed. She was killed in the empty room instead!
She left her lab on her own?
But why would she go into an empty room? There shouldn't have been anything in there.
Except for candles.
That's it! Candle!
I agree!
That's it.
Angie went to that room to get a candle.
Yeah, for kinky wax play.
No, Mew. Bad Mew.
No. Angie was going to use it for the ritual. According to the Necronomicon, to resurrect the dead,
Then, did she seek out a candle so she could burn the book?
That's right. There's nothing to start a fire with in Angie's lab. So she went to go get a candle from one of the empty rooms.
And that's when the culprit attacked her.
That's why there was dried blood under floor.
Which means Angie was attacked in the same room the seance was held. Bravo, Himiko. Well done for choosing that room for the seance. If we hadn't done the seance in that room, then Tenko's murder would have been in another room.
We got a little lucky.
If that happened, no one would have discovered Angie's bloodstain under the floorboards.
Little bit lucky.
That's right. Shuichi and I only checked under the floorboards where Tenko died.
Yep, it's all thanks to Himiko for choosing the same room as Angie. This must be a Tua's will. Or maybe the power of magic.
It's neither. I just picked one.
Hold on. You're all acting as though you've proven that as fact already. You claim Angie was murdered in the empty room, and then moved to the lab? Then how do you explain the large amount of blood in the lab? It may be possible to carry a body, but blood cannot be moved.
I think she was still alive after the attack in the empty room. She was killed after she was carried to her lab.
Yeah, we have some evidence that there were at least 2 injuries. Because of the forehead injury.
The fatal wound was a cut to the back of her neck from the katana. But she also showed signs of blunt force trauma, and I think I know why. After Angie was knocked unconscious in the empty room, she was killed in her lab.
I see. So that puddle of blood is from the killing blow. Ha! It's all clear now. Angie was attacked in the empty room, carried to her lab, and it was there that the culprit finished her off.
All clear. This is all clear.
Prepare yourselves, folks.
What are you all talking about? All clear? What is all clear? What are you? All clear? What are you all? You what? What are... I will not fear. I will not back down.
Sweet Korekio, calm yourself. Their words are all hollow. There is no meaning to any of them. You must teach these ignorant children a lesson.
Yes, you're right. Okay, I'll teach them.
He's cracked.
What the hell are you mumbling about? You're giving me the goddamn willies!
Not yet. Nothing is clear at all. It's full of doubts, of mysteries, of a dense, impenetrable fog! Nothing is clear at all!
Angry Creeper.
Angie was attacked in the empty room first, and then carried into the research lab? Impossible! Impossible! That's nothing but a delusion! You would tend to poison our minds with your delusions?
It's no delusion. Angie's 2 external wounds tell the story.
Let's give it a minute.
After she was struck in the empty room, she was carried to the art research lab and then killed.
You say the culprit carried Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no bloodstains. Even if you wipe them down later, there'd still be traces of evidence left behind. But there was no evidence anywhere, was there, Shuichi? You say the culprit carried Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no bloodstains. Even if you wipe them down later, there'd still be traces of evidence left behind. But there was no evidence anywhere. There, Shuichi!
I'll cut through your words! There was evidence left at the scene. The bloody tape under Angie's body.
What?
It was wrapped around her head to stop the bleeding while she was being carried.
Bloody tape? Gonta didn't notice at all.
Yeah, we have Maki to take
It was under
that.
the body. It's most likely evidence the culprit should have gotten rid of. But since it was hidden, the culprit didn't notice and failed to dispose of it.
It must have fallen as the fatal blow was dealt, and ended up under her body.
It must have been Atua who did that for us.
What? Atua? How long are you going to keep that up?
Now we know most of the mystery behind Angie's murder.
I'm convinced there's only one person who could have killed Angie. It has to be you!
So pretty certain we don't have 2 killers
It's you,
to deal
Kyo.
with.
You killed Angie.
We only have 1.
What the fuck? So it's true!
Gee,
Well, that was obvious.
I heard a little bit of
obvious
another character
answer.
in that squeal.
You killed both of them. Why did you kill them?
In terms of pure logic, only one victim was necessary to win.
Why? Why you killed them both?
I think one of the murders was an accident.
An accident?
Oh
That's
yeah.
right. It wasn't part of the plan.
Take a guess which
Huh?
one was the
Which one?
accident. Was it the one that just happened, or was it the one that was meticulously planned out? Gee, I wonder.
That's it!
Yes, exactly, Jay Bruin. That
Angie's murder was an
squeal.
accident.
What? Tenko wasn't accident?
That squeal was
That's
definitely
right.
had Teru
Kyo
all
originally
over
planned to
it.
kill someone with a seesaw trick. But while he was making preparations in the empty room, Angie walked in. So he decided to kill her in order to keep her from talking.
You've missed 4 hours of it.
She just happened to
We're
walk
like
in
right
on the
at the
culprit
end of
setting
the
up
trial.
and was killed.
Then he should have just stopped there. Once he killed Angie, there was no reason for him to kill Tenko.
You only needed to kill one for this game. Killing 2 is pointless. If you get bonus points for killing more, then sure. Otherwise, it leaves more clues behind.
Which it did.
Why, Kyo? Why you kill 2 of our friends?
What on earth are you talking about?
It's okay. The stream will still be up
I'm
on
not the
Twitch for
culprit.
the next 2 weeks, so... And I will eventually
So,
get it...
Why is everyone looking at
uploaded
me
to
like I
YouTube.
am? Why? Why are they? Why is it? Calm yourself, Korekio. Yes. You mustn't raise your voice. You mustn't stutter. You mustn't lose composure.
I don't
You
think you'll have to
mustn't become
hide much
flustered.
longer, Dragonis.
You mustn't waver. Look at their horrid faces. This sorry lot is not worth agonizing over. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
There he goes again. What the hell's wrong with him?
It almost seems like he's talking with someone.
Someone? He's just talking to himself. And why the hell is he wearing lipstick?
Don't judge.
No matter how loudly you protest, this is a trivial matter. I will never acknowledge your allegations. Not a single one of them. For you see, there is no evidence that I killed Angie. No, I will not acknowledge it. I will only acknowledge facts, true events. I won't acknowledge fiction, mystery. I won't acknowledge your deductions or guesses. Well said. Good job, Correcchio.
Your timing is something
Yes,
else.
Thanks.
Creeps me the fuck out!
I think the chat can agree with you there, Mew.
You're wrong. There is evidence.
What? You do realize bluffs like that won't work, yes?
The weapon that was used to knock Angie unconscious in the empty room. That weapon tells us the whole story, Kyo.
Oh yeah, we're at the end of the trial. We're at the end of the trial.
That's not possible. I think you may have misunderstood. Apologize. Come on, apologize. 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 Apologize.
To the Danganronpa.
Come on. Apologize. 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 Apologize.
Seriously, what the hell's happening?
Okay, this
I have
one's
nothing to
going to
admit.
hurt.
You are simply wrong. Yes, I'm not the culprit. So I have nothing to confess. I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. Why must you force your delusions on us? Your logic? That's merely a delusion. Well said, Correcchio. To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us? Your logic? That's merely a delusion. Yes. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that?
And
You have no
let's
proof
see.
that Correcchio is the killer.
Bone on the meat.
It ends here!
The corrupted
Kyo
bits
hit
are just so
Angie
you
with the
can't
same
see the
floorboard used in
timing.
the seesaw trick.
That's what it is. Or Monica's messing with us, one of the two.
see. And how do you know the floorboard was the murder weapon?
There was a small patch of dried blood on the underside of the floorboard.
Angie's blood?
Blood that spattered there when the culprit struck Angie with the board. But that's not the only evidence that she was hit with that floorboard. There's also the blood stain under the floor to consider.
Board floor moved.
For that to be there, the floorboard must not have been in place at the time of the attack.
The Doki Doki
Good
game
point.
was
Had the floorboard
incredibly
been in
amusing.
place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath
Once
it.
we got into the craziness, it
Kyo's
was
earlier
really
confession
entertaining.
Is further evidence that the floorboard was used.
How?
If the weapon used to hit Angie is the floorboard from the seesaw trick,
It means the culprit knew about the seesaw, so the same person killed Tenko and Angie.
Cry of anguish.
I believe that while Kyo was setting up
Yeah,
the seesaw,
Angie got to be
he
an
was holding
angel.
the board when Angie walked in.
And he cold-cocked her with the floorboard.
all you can do now is accept it. You even confessed to Tenko's murder already.
Oh, it's true. This is the truth.
Looks like we're almost at the end. All right, Shuichi. I'll leave the finale to you. Bring down the house.
Ichi, please, put an end to this. For Angie and Tenko's sake. End this class trial.
I understand. I'll go over everything one more time. Kyo, I want you to confess. No, I will force you to confess.
Yeah, Himiko needs all the hugs right now. Okay, so for panel 1 we have who is the culprit, what weapon knocked her unconscious, what was compressing the injury, what weapon killed Angie, whose FSG was stabbed with the katana, the handle of the spinning katana, when Angie's body was found, who unlocked the door, what object did Tenko rest her head on, what weapon did the culprit set up on the iron cage, who was responsible for extinguishing candles, how was the culprit able to move when the culprit approached the cage, and how did the magic circle get erased? Yep, let's see here. Let's see, what was compressing it? Well, the duct tape I've got right there. That's a good one. Won't be much longer. This is the end of the trial. Sickle place to kill. Let's see. Yeah, what weapon did he place up on the cage? What a sickle. Small stone Himiko brought. What other? The removed floorboard that knocked her unconscious. The thing hit the sliding lock. The gold leaf katana. That's what he actually used to kill Angie with after he brought her there knocked unconscious. And then the path made with salt. And where was that? All the way down here. Yeah, move around the darkness. So now that unlocks all the rest of these. Kokichi's lockpicking was able to get into the door. Stomping hard on the floorboard. approach the cage, he's stomped down. Scoring all the basketballs. Huh. I'm missing a reference there. Let's see. Shuichi extinguishes the flame. Footsteps contaminating the scene. Erase the magic circle. The cut cross piece under the floor. And the stabbing of the effigy.
This is the truth of the case! Let's look back at the first murder.
Oh yeah, they kind of went overboard.
It was late
here.
last night. The culprit was in the empty room on the 4th floor. The culprit was preparing the seance murder they had planned. To use the floorboard as a seesaw, they had to cut the crosspiece supporting it. The plan was to make the same preparations for all 3 empty rooms. This would divert suspicion away from the culprit and whoever picked a room.
I still really like this music.
To cut the cross pieces, they needed a saw.
I will say the
imagine they got
execution
one from the
music for this
warehouse.
trial is also
They were planning
fantastic.
to cut the cross pieces in all 3 rooms. However, when the culprit was working on the middle room, the unexpected happened. Angie walked into that room and saw the culprit making their preparations. She needed some fire for the ritual and had gone to the room for a candle. At that point, the culprit had not finished the setup and was just cutting cross pieces. Angie might not have concluded that it was tied to some kind of murder plan. But now that Angie had seen it, the culprit couldn't use the seesaw trick. Any other person might have just given up.
Bubbling.
But not our culprit.
Huh.
The culprit took the floorboard they loosened and struck the unsuspecting Angie in the head.
Well, we're not the
culprit
ones who
did
can
not want to give
lockpick.
up on their plan
That's an
and had to
NPC.
improvise.
The NPCs are doing the lockpicking.
They wrapped duct tape around Angie's injury to stop the bleeding. Then they picked up her unconscious body and carried her to a research lab. While she was unconscious, the culprit hurried to tie up this loose end. But because they were in a hurry, they made a crucial oversight. They didn't notice the duct tape had peeled off and was under Angie's body. Without that evidence, we may never have figured out the culprit's trick.
You'd
Carrying
have
the
to have
supplies
live
they needed,
grenades
the
first.
culprit returned to the ultimate art lab.
We don't exactly have a huge supply of grenades.
Locked the front door from inside. And took out the katana they brought from their own lab. They then stabbed Angie in the back of the neck, finally killing her. Then, to further confuse us, the culprit attempted to make a locked room mystery. First, they used rope from the warehouse and hung 4 effigies upside down. There were
We
two
already
reasons
have
for
the
this.
ultimate troll, though.
To overwhelm the room with
That's
an
what
occult
Kokichi's
atmosphere.
for.
And the other was the key to locking the room. The culprit stuck the katana into Kaede's effigy near the rear entrance. And spun the effigy around to twist up the rope. After enough turns, the culprit let go and headed for the rear door. Once released, the effigy began spinning, and the gold leaf katana with it. The handle of the katana then hit the sliding lock, locking the door. A difficult trick, but remember that the lock was so loose it moved at the slightest touch. The culprit also would have had the opportunity to attempt it many times. Once complete, the door was locked, but the duct tape was left behind. Perhaps the culprit noticed it, but by that point, it was too late.
And yeah, there is
The room
indeed
was
some
sealed.
planning that
There was
went
no way for
on.
them to get back inside. Then, this morning, we opened up the room and discovered Angie's body.
Why did he do what?
But the culprit wasn't finished. They wanted one more murder. To do that, they manipulated us into performing this seance. Of the 3 empty rooms, the middle
Because
one was chosen for
Danganronpa,
the
that's
seance. I was invited by Kokichi to take Kibo's place in the seance. Tenko volunteered to be the medium, but she never imagined it would get her killed. To perform the seance, the culprit claimed they needed something for Tenko. A small stone that Himiko had brought from the courtyard.
Okay. Yeah, you remembered...
Tenko, at the culprit's
You remembered
request,
Kibo
bowed
was
her
supposed to
head
be in
until
the
it was touching the
seance?
stone.
Well, Shuichi showed up and it was said that, yeah, the detective should probably be in there. So Kokichi volunteered to kick Kibo out, and everybody except Kibo kind of went along with it. That's basically what happened.
That position was instrumental in making sure the murder went as planned. Next, Kokichi and I placed the iron cage over Tenko in the middle of the magic circle. The culprit then volunteered to drape the white cloth over the iron cage. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was a deliberate decision by the culprit. They needed to set up the murder weapon that was used to kill Tenko. While they were covering the cage with a cloth, they secretly placed the sickle. Finally, 4 of us placed the wooden statue on top of the cage. The culprit used the weight of the statue to keep the murder weapon in place. After the preparations were complete, we began the seance. In complete darkness, we each stood in one corner and sang the Caged Child song.
I need to do a cover of that song.
When the song finished, the soul of the dead was supposed to enter the medium. But our culprit had another plan, to commit a murder in the darkness. Right after we started singing, the culprit began making
It actually wasn't bad.
It would have been quite difficult to do in total darkness, but our culprit had a guide. They used the lines of the magic circle drawn with salt. The culprit felt for the salt.
It was creepy, yeah. It was a little creepy. I should be able to bring it up. I do believe that scene, once we are done here, I should be able to bring it up and you can see it. Should.
They found the floorboard that had its crosspiece cut off the night before. Then lifted up their foot and stomped down hard on the floorboard.
Or jumped on it, according to that picture.
The floorboard lifted up like a seesaw and pushed Tenko's body up toward the ceiling of the cage. Tenko was stabbed in the back of the neck by the sickle on the top of the cage. She was killed right before our eyes, and we didn't even see it.
Well, it was pitch black.
After committing the crime, the culprit followed the salt back to their corner. Finished the ritual and had us light the candles. We followed the culprit's directions and removed the equipment used for the seance. And discovered Tenko's body. And while we were all focused on the body, the culprit picked up the sickle and dropped it under the floor through the hole in the corner of the room.
Well, you're not wrong.
Ironically, the final step of the murder was unwittingly carried out by us. The culprit had planned the murder so that we would unintentionally destroy some evidence. That evidence was the magic circle that the culprit used to navigate in the dark. However, the culprit didn't know that Kibo had taken a picture. He really saved us. Without that, we wouldn't know what changes
both
were made
wounds
to
were
the
in the
circle.
back of the neck.
But now we know for certain, and we know the culprit drew the magic circle. Korekio Shinguchi, the ultimate anthropologist. You're the culprit behind these murders.
I keep telling you, he has yaoi hands.
That's where my detective work leads us. It all fits.
Yep, you were right about the circle.
Sweet Korekio, there are times when it's necessary to admit defeat. Admit? Yeah. Okay.
So you finally admit you did it.
Unfortunately. Yes. Yes. It's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. My one regret, my only regret, was not being able to make 100 friends.
Give it time.
100 friends?
Give it time.
It was my dream to make 100 friends. Oh, it's so unfortunate! I was so close to 100! What are you talking about? I do not understand a word of this.
Who gives a fuck? Let's vote for this kooky bastard and be done with
I
this already!
agree with Mew.
Roger that! One voting time coming up!
The heart racing excitement as
The heart racing excitement!
As the black end in the spotlight
What are you doing, game? Come on. There we go.
Now then, it seems the voting has finished. Let's see the result.
He admitted defeat and voted for himself. That is who Creeper voted for.
Who'll be chosen as the Blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one?
I honestly don't think so. Somehow I only got a B on the closing argument. I don't understand that. I don't know if you actually need to say trigger warning for what's coming up. But I will say this, he's mentioned friends there. And because I know at least half of the chat has absolutely no interest in seeing them, if you had done his friendship things with Kaede, because you can only do those in like the first chapter, if you had actually gotten his two friendship fragments you were allowed to get with Kaede on him, the last thing he would have told you is he can't wait to introduce you to his sister. He would have considered Kaede one of the 100 friends he wanted to. You'll see. And if you get all the way, you get all 5 of his friendship fragments with Shuichi, he will say that it is unfortunate that Shuichi is not a girl because he's exactly the same type of person he wants to introduce his sister to. So, you know. Just keep that in mind.